unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live, Boxing Ego unpack. Yeah. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live.
Ryan Garcia's trainer says he needs 3 or 4 more fights before facing the likes of Devin, HANEY and Gervonta Tank Davis. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the super chats, channel donations, the Venmo donations, the Cash App, and the Patreon family. We working. Now, sign up for ESPN Plus, the bundle. That includes ESPN Plus, Hulu, and Disney Plus, all 3 apps, $12.99 a month. And it could help you get through this quarantine. I personally have all 3. I'm trying to catch up with as much content as I can because, you know, when boxing in the world kicks back on and, you know, we're able to go outside and whatnot, I think it's going to be crazy. So if you're tucked away at home or, you know, lost your job or don't have a job, you need some content, that's definitely a good option for you. And it does help the channel when you guys click on that link. Now, let's jump into it. Eddie Reynoso, famed trainer of Canelo Alvarez, and in this case, Ryan Garcia as well. He did an interview with ESPN Deportes. I'm going to jump right into his comments. He's recommending that Ryan Garcia take additional fights before facing basically the big names. Here's what he had to say. Quote, I would like him to have a couple more fights because in his last 3 fights, we have only fought for a combined 4 rounds. He still needs to learn more, fight with boxers who can give him a battle, boxers who are giving him things to work on inside the ring. We are missing 2 or 3 more fights, not because he cannot beat the top guys right now. He could beat anyone inside the ring. He could be a champion, but a few more fights are needed to increase the possibilities of doing so. To get more in terms of learning and training. He needs a little more experience, and let's see if this could be achieved this year. He goes on to say, as far as I'm concerned as a coach, we have not really beaten anyone. We have not beaten any world champion. We have not won any world title eliminator. We have a silver title. The boy is very talented. He also has talent for writing, and he is very charismatic. He has a lot of ability to learn inside of the ring. But I think we still have a long way to go before becoming a great champion. We have to keep working. We have to keep learning and beating top-notch fighters. He is in a very good moment right now. We need to learn more, but with discipline, and as he continues, he will go a long way. So, very interesting stuff. Very, very interesting stuff from Eddie Reynoso. I will say, shout out to Eddie Reynoso for being brutally honest and, you know, speaking his mind, unfiltered, unapologetic, and, you know, keeping it a buck. Because in boxing, sometimes that's rare. Sometimes you have, you know, a popular fighter, a popular guy or whatever, and people are worried about their employment or worried about their job. So they just become yes men, and they, you know, they'll never say brutally honest things. They'll laugh at that person's jokes, every joke that they make, you know, just stuff like that, just yes man behavior. But I see Eddie Reynoso, he's saying he's willing to say and speak his truth, what he sees for Ryan Garcia. And, you know, and he did it respectfully. He didn't take away and say Ryan Garcia is, you know, garbage or, you know, anything like that. He simply said, in his opinion, Ryan, you know, he's basically saying Ryan's not ready for the top guys. He said he could, you know, he tried to cover it up. You gotta listen to what people said. He keeps saying and reiterating the fact that we need more fights. We are missing 2 or 3 more fights. And then he tried to throw this in there, not because he cannot beat the top guys right now. He can beat anyone, but we need a few more. So the main focal point of what he's saying, if you listen to the jargon in a nice way, he's saying that Ryan Garcia needs more fights. And I mean, he even went on as much to say we haven't really beaten anyone. We haven't become a world champion. We haven't beaten, that class or caliber. We haven't fought for a world title eliminator and the #1 seed or anything like that. So he has to just keep trucking away. And he also, mentioned that he's had some first round knockouts recently. So his last 4 fights have ended, first 2 rounds or so. So I think Eddie Reynoso is being reasonable. I like Ryan Garcia. I think he's willing to learn. He's popular. He has speed. He has power. We don't know about his chin ultimately until he starts facing the better names. But, so far so good. He's been durable, stuff like that. Potential. Now, with that being said, since Eddie Reynoso he's being so brutally honest, I got to be brutally honest, like I always am on my channel. But this is a good transition and segue into it. For me, this goes back to what I was saying about DAZN and a lot of the clout chasing that I'm seeing, because every interview with a lot of DAZN fighters in general, I'm seeing somebody else's name attached to it. You see what I'm saying? Like, I keep seeing Ryan Garcia call out different people. Like, he just said me and Vasil Lomachenko will happen. He says, Ryan Garcia says he'll fight Manny Pacquiao by next year. He says he'll whoop Tank Davis's ass. He said he wants it this year. And even people like Oscar De La Hoya have went on record and said, oh yeah, okay. So just so we're clear, De La Hoya did an interview with ES News, and he was asked directly about Ryan Garcia versus Tank. Is Ryan Garcia ready? That was not that long ago, probably a year ago, so, 16 months maybe. And Oscar De La Hoya said, no. He said, Ryan and Tank, no, Tank's a beast. That's exactly what De La Hoya said. You see what I'm saying? So De La Hoya said that basically Ryan Garcia wasn't ready at the time of recording that video. So what's really changed? You see what I'm saying? Because now De La Hoya let him tell it. He's saying and doing interviews and saying, oh, he wants to make Ryan Garcia versus Gervonta Tank Davis in 2020. And I call BS on that. I don't think he has intentions of making that fight. They're just using Gervonta Tank Davis, who is a 3-time champion, highly popular, and they're using the name knowing it won't happen. Now, I can't say that for Ryan Garcia, because I do think that Ryan Garcia, he's a fighter. This is a fighter talking. So the fighter in his heart, despite what De La Hoya, his promoter, is saying, despite what his trainer is saying, he in his heart might feel that he's ready and he wants to fight Gervonta Tank Davis. I could believe that. But the reality is, like I've been saying, new media, digital mob, we control the narrative. I don't see it happening. So it's almost like foolish, because basically, no matter how much the fighter, Ryan Garcia or said person, whatever the fighter is, wants these fights, your team has to be on the same page, namely your trainer and your promoter. And we've seen a variance in the opinion and the eagerness for the fighter to want to have these and showcase and host these fights, but their teams don't look like they're on the same page. And this is another perfect example of what I'm talking about. So as far as I'm concerned, I really don't have too much interest in hearing like Ryan Garcia call out the bigger names, because your team is not willing to make those fights. So it just makes your team look like you're not in unison and you guys are all over the place. That's what I truly believe. Because if Ryan Garcia, as popular as he is and all the followers he is and knockout performances, and, people even compared, oh yeah, Ryan Garcia knocked out Fonseca, and guess what? Tank took more rounds to knock him out. Tevin Farmer didn't knock him out. That's boxing. These triangle theories don't work. You look at Marvin Hagler and Roberto Duran, right? And then you look at Hagler Hearns and how Hagler knocked out Hearns. And then you look at Hearns versus Roberto Duran, and Hearns destroyed Roberto Duran and knocked him through the ropes. And then you look at Roberto Duran and Hagler, and then it went the distance. You see what I'm saying? So none of that BS makes sense or works. That triangle theory gibberish. It doesn't matter because Fonseca, by the time Ryan Garcia got him, years had passed since Tank had fought him, you know, and Fonseca has never really won any fight of note. Tank whooped him and stopped him, you know, after missing weight. Tevin Farmer convincingly beat him, and then Ryan Garcia got him eventually. So, you know, it's like comparing, oh yeah, Canelo knocked out Carlos Baldomir and Floyd Mayweather couldn't knock him out. That isn't, when Floyd fought Canelo, what happened? He destroyed him. You know, Floyd fought a more in prime Carlos Baldomir, you know, who had beaten Zab Judah, right? By the time Canelo fought Baldomir, who's a perv, he was 40, 41 years old. So, I mean, you have to put all things, boxing is not, that's why it's called the sweet science. There's a science behind this, you know, little simple 2 + 2 doesn't equal 4 with some BS triangle theories, you know, so I don't really care about that. But the bottom line, as I've stated, is Ryan Garcia and his team are not all on the same page, and that much is apparent. You never see this with certain fighters, like Errol Spence. I don't see Errol Spence demanding fight A, B, and C, and then his trainer is saying Errol's not ready for fight A, B, and C. So it would behoove the fighter trainer and fighter team tandems and trios, and, you know, just basically for you to talk to your team and all be on the same accord and all be on the same page. I've talked to Derek James several times, and I've never heard Derek James one time go against Errol Spence's wishes, meaning like if Errol Spence says he's ready for Danny Garcia, I've never heard Derek James say, oh no, you know, Errol, we need 4 more fights before we fight Danny. If and then he just got in a car accident, you know what I'm saying? And Derek James still ain't doing that. You see what I'm saying? He's like, man, Derek James is the quintessential trainer, bro, because he's good at what he does. He used to fight himself, and he's playing his position, and he makes team decisions. That's why it looks like him and Errol Spence have a good thing going, because they're all on the same page. You see what I'm saying? Errol Spence, last time I talked to Derek James when boxing was alive was at the Charlo fight, and that was in December. So December of last year. And I said, do you think it's wise? I asked him a question. I said, would you prefer Errol to take tune-ups? Because this was when the accident was pretty fresh. That was Errol Spence's first public appearance, you know, at that time, because it was in December. It was his first public appearance out since the wreck. You know, people were even saying his speech sounded different and stuff like that. And I asked him, because this was all super fresh to everybody, I said, do you think Errol Spence is needing some tune-ups to come back, you know, a proper way, or can he just jump in there with Danny Garcia, Sean Porter 2, Manny Pacquiao, or, you know, whoever, Thurman, or whatever big name, Terrence Crawford, can he just jump straight in there? And Derek James, if you watch the interview, he specifically said, I don't know what he said verbatim, but he basically said, we're going to leave it to Errol, see how his body responds, see what he wants. That's what he said. But then you look at Ryan Garcia is saying he knows how to beat Vasil Lomachenko. He's saying he wants to fight Manny Pacquiao. He's saying he'll destroy and knock out Gervonta Tank Davis, and Tank is a, you know, B word. He's saying he'll beat Devin Haney, and he hurt Devin Haney in the amateurs. But your coach is saying basically something different. He says, quote, as far as I'm concerned as a coach, we have not really beaten anyone. We have not beaten any world champions. We have not won any world title eliminators. We have a silver title, end quote. That's what he's saying. So, you know, it makes more sense for whatever the directive is. Like, see, for me, I don't care. This is not my career. Ryan Garcia, you know, like I said, he's always been cool. But it's really, I just want a uniform message. You see what I'm saying? So if Ryan Garcia is going after the Devin Haneys and Gervontas and Teofimo and Loma and Pacquiao, then I want to hear his team say that. So I'm a bit torn, because again, I appreciate Eddie Reynoso keeping it a buck and being real, but it's hard for me to believe anything else other than what I've told you about clout chasing with DAZN because I keep seeing it. De La Hoya a year ago, he said, oh no, Tank's a beast, and made it sound like he didn't want to make the Ryan Garcia fight. Like Ryan wasn't ready, which is basically what Eddie Reynoso is saying. He prefers more fights for Ryan. But then now this year, obviously for the pandemic, Oscar De La Hoya was saying, oh yeah, I want to make the Tank fight this year, which I call their bluff on it. See, how do I keep calling people's bluff and then what I say comes true? So to me, the only one that's been consistent about being gung-ho for these fights is Ryan Garcia himself. So I can understand that. I can understand the fighter himself feels he's ready. The fighter himself feels he'll knock out anybody, and you guys don't know what I'm capable of. But it's all about getting your team on the same page, on the same accord. Because right now, with the message that's going out, Ryan Garcia is talking about, oh, I'll knock out Tank. I'm going to do him like this, boom, boom, and hit him with a hook, whap. And he's doing all this and constantly mentioning Gervonta Davis, but then your team saying you're not ready for Davis, basically, in so many words. You're not ready for the Devin Haney type of fights, in so many words. We don't see Bill Haney, saying that about Devin. Devin saying he want to fight Lomachenko, he want to fight Ryan Garcia. I don't see Bill Haney or anybody associated with Team Devin saying he's not ready. You see what I'm saying? So that is what I hope can happen. Again, I'm not mad at anyone. Eddie Reynoso, he said his piece. Ryan Garcia is doing his call out stuff. But what I'm saying is it looks bad when your team is all saying different things. We've seen this with Pacquiao at the end of his career with Top Rank. It sounded like he kind of would fight Terrence Crawford, but then Michael Conks was saying we hate Crawford's style, and Freddie Roach was like, oh, we need some tune-ups, but Pacquiao's like, he'll fight anybody. Then Bob Arum will say he wants to fight, and HBO, it just makes it look like madness. And I think the sooner teams should do like meetings. Like when I worked at Lowe's, we used to have regular meetings. We'd have morning huddles, that's what they called them. And then for other stuff like major changes, like heading into the Thanksgiving, Black Fridays and stuff, we would have like store meetings that were mandatory. You had to come. I think teams should frequently meet up, like Boy Scout meetings or something, and make sure everybody's on the same page. Because to me, it sounds crazy for Ryan Garcia to be doing all these call outs and saying he wants the best of the best, but then De La Hoya won't even so much as put him in there with Jorge Linares. Your own coach is saying basically you're not ready for a couple more fights just to be sure to build up, because there's stuff you have to learn. And your last combined fights have only went 4 rounds. So the proof is in the pudding. His team is not confident in putting him in there at the top level right now without, and they want to take their time, and that's cool because he's young. But then the only problem comes is the fighter is the one in the headlines saying something different. So whatever the case is, I would like to see it. So if Ryan Garcia is going to keep saying he'll knock out Gervonta Davis and Devin Haney and calling out Lomachenko and Pacquiao and, these types of things, then let's see your promoter trust the fighter and start giving them the better names, and then the trainer go with it. That's what I would like to see. So whatever it is, I want to see everybody on the same page, preferably. So if have faith in Ryan Garcia, like he's doing the call outs, he wants to fight Devin Haney and Tank. Have faith in him, and like this is literally what I've talked about. And if you watch my channel and you watch it for any length, literally what I've said is this. I said, despite how much Ryan Garcia wants to spar Gervonta Davis or fight him in a pro fight, I don't think his team wants to make the fight. And if the team wants me to believe that they have the faith that these would be good fights for Ryan, then they gotta, at least, if you can't get Gervonta Davis or Devin Haney, even though they're both on DAZN, Devin Haney and Ryan, if you can't get that high of a caliber fight, then at least put him in there with a Jorge Linares, maybe Gamboa or Javier Fortuna, somebody who's a step up not necessarily Devin Haney quality, not necessarily Lomachenko or Gervonta quality, but someone just below that, or a couple notches below them. But if you keep putting them in there with guys that are really no hopers, then it's not going to give people confidence of what Ryan Garcia is saying. And this ESPN Deportes interview, again, I appreciate Eddie Reynoso's honesty, but it just doesn't corroborate the recent call-outs we've been hearing from Ryan. That's my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. If you're new, consider subscribing. I drop frequent content, talk about boxing, cover fights, go live, all that good stuff. Consider subscribing. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off.
So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.